Did you feel slighted in any way playing alongside of Ike Hilliard and Riedel Anthony in those heydays?
No, I never felt slighted. No, we were best friends, so it didn't bother us. We knew that all three of us could produce when our number was called.
You got Eric Rhett, Emmitt Smith, Fred Taylor. Put them in order. When you watched it, what is the impression that you got watching that Netflix series on Swamp King?
Well, I didn't think they dove deep enough to me. I've heard rumors of a bunch of things that went on around that time. I knew, some of them was true, some of them were false. To me, it felt like just a highlight film. And I was in Gainesville around that time. That's when I was back in Gainesville, finishing up my degree, 06, 07, when they was winning the titles and the basketball team was winning back-to-back. So I watched all the games. So it really didn't interest me none, because, it felt like a highlight film. I watched maybe a couple of episodes, and I never finished it. Today, you can't even get hit nowadays. Back in those days, you can get hit any kind of way. You can get grabbed, you can get held. So the game is just totally different. The game is more wide open than it was back when I played football. And even back in those days, I never wanted to get pigeonholed into being a slot receiver.
All my Gator fans, I got a good one for you today. He was a 1997 Collegiate All-American, 1998 second-round NFL selection, finalist, one of 3 finalists for the Biletnikoff Award, and currently your Manatee Hurricane head coach. Welcome to the show, Gator legend Jacquez Green.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I've been a fan of your group of Gator. So I've been a fan of that Warful day, the Green and Ike Hilliard and Riedel Anthony days, and shoot, even going back to Emmitt Smith when they had the orange jersey with the holes in them. So I've been a Gator, man, my whole life. So this is a treat for me. Let's take it back to your high school days. As good as you were a wide receiver, I had no clue that you played quarterback at high school. No clue. Talk to me about your QB days.
Back in those days, most teams I was put their quote unquote best player at quarterback. At that time, we was running a lot of option type stuff in high school. Everybody in the state wanted to do what Georgia Southern was doing at the time, and Georgia Southern was winning a lot of national titles at the time. So I had been running the option since middle school, and I started running the option in high school. I did play receiver and running back my sophomore and junior year, because we had a guy who was already a quarterback, and then I went back to quarterback again my senior year. But I had played quarterback my whole life, except maybe 1 or 2 years. So I was always a quarterback at heart.
Shoot, now that you talk about it, hold on. Let's say it just brings me another question. Peter Ward played quarterback, okay? Southeast legend. All right. Yep. Tommy Frazier played quarterback. Manatee High School legend, okay?
Yep.
Who was a better high school quarterback of y'all 3? You, Tommy, or Peter?
We were similar. Okay. Both of us can throw good enough to make you respect the pass, but we were going to do most of our damage, running the football. And as a matter of fact, at one time when I was at Florida, we had 13 guys on our team who was their high school quarterback.
Wow.
Who wasn't a quarterback at Florida but played other positions. But there was 13 at one time that we counted. Because one day we just talking, he was like, I played quarterback in high school too. Like, I was a quarterback in high school too. So
right.
It was common for your best player to play quarterback in those days.
So when you got to Florida, did you know that automatically you were going to switch to wide receiver? You know you get recruited as a wide receiver?
Yeah, I got recruited by as a wide receiver by some schools, and some schools want me to play corner. Georgia Southern and East Tennessee State want me to play quarterback. I think Georgia Southern was still a heavy option team. So I always know I wanted to play wide receiver when I got to college. I didn't want to play quarterback, and I dang sure didn't want to play corner, because Auburn and Georgia recruited me to play corner, but I never liked defense. I was wanting to test the ball. I was wanting to try to score with the football.
All right, so Steve Spurrier, legendary coach. Obviously, we all know Steve. How was he as a head coach? I mean, we've heard stories that he was a terror. Is any of that true?
He was a good coach, man. Just a real good coach. He knew how to motivate the team. He knew how to tag defenses. He was a guy that didn't have a bunch of rules. He always said, guys, you know how to act. Act the way you're supposed to. He didn't play about smoking. He didn't play about putting your hand on women and stuff like that. But other than that, he didn't have a bunch of rules. You just did what you were supposed to do and act accordingly. And if not, he'll get rid of you. When I was there, he got rid of a bunch of great players, a bunch of big time players, along the way who probably could end up in the NFL if they knew how to act in college. So he was just a good coach, and I learned so much from him as far as what I apply today as coaching, as far as X's and O's part of the game.
Which is kind of similar to what I know of Urban Meyer. So Urban Meyer recruited me out of high school. He was my primary recruiter. At the time, he was the wide receiver coach at Notre Dame, and obviously he ended up being Florida's head coach and championship coach in his own right. But watching Swamp Kings, all right, watching the Netflix special Swamp Kings, I was excited to watch it. Gator fan, Urban Meyer fan. Obviously, those are championship days for Florida. When you watched it, what is the impression that you got watching that Netflix series on Swamp King?
Well, I didn't think they dove deep enough to me. I've heard rumors of a bunch of things that went on around that time. I knew, some of them was true, some of them were false. To me, it felt like just a highlight film. And I was in Gainesville around that time. That's when I was back in Gainesville, finishing up my degree, 06, 07, when they was winning the titles and the basketball team was winning back-to-back. So I watched all the games. So it really didn't interest me none, because, it felt like a highlight film. I watched maybe a couple of episodes, and I never finished it because I wanted to really hear the in-depth stuff and what was really happening behind the scenes. And it felt like it was just, a hype for, Coach Meyer and Tebow, a hype for those guys, and really feel like it really went in depth as far as what was going on behind the scenes, like the other series they did on Netflix.
Okay. Okay. Tim Tebow, as he was regarded as one of the greats to play at Florida, and Danny Warfel, your guy. Have you ever met Tebow? Let's start there.
I met Tebow.
What are the similarities between the two?
I think they're natural leaders, and they totally different leaders at that. I think Tebow is a more of a vocal guy. I think Danny just leads by the way he prepares and the way he plays. I'm not saying Tebow doesn't prepare that way, but they're just different ways of leadership. And I even preach that to my guys. It's different ways of being a leader. You don't have to always be a vocal leader. You can be a guy that just does things the right way on a consistent basis, and guys tend to follow behind you.
Do your guys know how good you were in college? Do they have any idea?
Some of them do. Some of them don't. Every blue moon, they'll pull up a highlight film or go on YouTube and be amazed at some of the things I used to do. A lot of them hear from their parents or their uncles and daddies and stuff about how I used to play, but I don't think they really they really can grasp it now. Considering my age now and how.
At your advanced age, huh, Coach? All right, so take your talents, and I set you up. I threw you that alley-oop, right?
Yeah.
Because in your day, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the slot wide receiver in your day in the spread offense, which was the Florida Gator offense back then, the slot receiver was utilized, but it wasn't as popular as it is now. NFL days, college days, now, if you have a stud slot, like he's going to be utilized and he might be the man on that team. Like they really isolate that slot wide receiver and expose his talents. Do you think you were before your time at slot back then? And two-part question, do you think you were before your time at slot back then? Second part of the question is, how would you produce in today's college or NFL game at your position?
I think I'll have more success now, based on the rules of the game. Back in my day, those cornerbacks can grab you, they can hold you, they can do anything before the ball get in the air. Today, you can't even get hit nowadays. Back in those days, you can get hit any kind of way. You can get grabbed, you can get held. So the game's just totally different. The game is more wide open than it was back when I played football. And even back in those days, I never wanted to get pigeonholed into being a slot receiver. I even tell my guys that now. Like, you don't want to just be a slot receiver. You want to just be a receiver. Because some guys have so much speed, you don't want to just be inside. You want to be on the outside where you can stretch the defense also. So you don't never want to get pigeonholed into just being the inside guy. For my size, even in the NFL, I played the X receiver a couple of years, which was the weak side receiver who's usually one-on-one by himself. I played that a few years also. So you want to have the skill set where you good enough that the team has to move you around to be able to get you the football.
All right, so stay in that lane. You played alongside of probably, and this may be a whole nother conversation. But let me ask the question first. Okay. Did you feel slighted in any way playing alongside of Ike Hilliard and Riedel Anthony in those heydays?
No, I never felt slighted. No, we were best friends, so it didn't bother us. We knew that all three of us could produce when our number was called. We was such good friends that if Riedel had 2 touchdowns and I had 2 touchdowns and I knew I might get 3 on this play, I might tell Ike to get over here and get this play to get him a touchdown, or maybe vice versa. No, them guys may have had a big games and this a play I may be able to get somebody like Riedel may be able to get a touchdown on. It'll be like, Q, you come get this one right here. So it was never any jealousy. There was never no dissension between the three of us. We always wanted each other to do well, and we always competed in practice. No, our whole thing in practice was let's see who can do the defensive back the worst. No, that was our competition. No, who can get open the best, who can run the best routes, who can just make plays. No, it was never like it was never any. No, we never had any beef with each other. We hung out after the games. We hung out before the games. Even our first year there, I was red. All those red shirted. We had 19 guys in our class. Only 3 guys played. Was Ike Riedel and Fred Taylor. The rest of us are red shirted. So, but when they get through playing the game, we was ready for them to come back to campus. We ready to hang out with them again. It was never any like jealousy, anything. Like nowadays, I think guys be jealous of each other. We never had anything like that, man. Uh, Actually, my second year when we won the national championship, we were 1, 2, and 3 in the SEC in touchdown catches. Rita had
Mm-hmm.
18, I had 11, I think I had 9. So we always had a chance. And in our offense, we always knew each one of us would get chances too. Wasn't a run-oriented scheme where the chance is very limited. So you want to be the guy who get the ball when it was thrown. So we knew each one of us would get a chance to make plays.
Now, here goes the second part of that question. Is there a better trio ever that played college football at the wide receiver position?
I don't think so. I think we made it cool to do some of the things that people do now. Over my lifetime, every time I meet other NFL guys or other college guys, they always talk about how they would turn the TV on just to watch us. Even the West Coast guys. So like, man, we always try to turn TV on so we can watch you guys back in the day because y'all always put on the show. And we weren't even trying to do it like that. We just was playing ball, man. We just playing football. So I think we before our time. I think you know, if fun and gun was fun and gun, but we based out of an I formation. We played with a fullback and tight end. We ran the
Mm-hmm.
football. Fred Taylor ran for 1,300 yards one year. The year before that, Fred, Terry Jackson, and Elijah. We all three of them had over 700 yards rushing. On the same team. So we ran the ball also. We probably put up a lot of big plays throwing the football, but we always had a competent run game.
Okay. Go back to Fred. If I'm a Hall of Fame voter, all right, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
If I'm a Hall of Fame voter, you give me your pitch on why Fred should be in the Hall right now.
Fred has like the ninth most. He's like 10th on the all-time rushing list, and I think all 9 guys or all 10 guys in front of him in the Hall of Fame. Fred was he's one of the best running backs of his era. He couldn't help that, some of the guys like Priest Holmes and all those guys getting into the Pro Bowl. I think the only thing that hurt Fred was the fact that he played in a small market like Jacksonville. If
Mm.
Fred Taylor put those same numbers up and played in New York or out in LA or Chicago, someone like that, he would have been in the Hall of Fame.
Mm. Okay. All right, here we go. Loaded question. You got Eric Rett, Emmitt Smith, Fred Taylor. Put them in order.
I go Emmett, Fred, and Rhett. Fred had something that those two guys just didn't have. Fred can give you a quick shake and just catch out and go 80 yards. Those guys can't do that. No,
Mm.
they can't do that. Now, Emmett was very consistent, and he was doing it at a time where everybody's loading the box in the SEC, knowing people going to run the football, and he still produced game in and game out. Eric Red was a dual threat guy. Eric Red can run for a bunch of yards, and he'll catch 60, 70 balls a year. And Eric Red probably the first running back, in Spurrier's system that made other guys want to come play for that system, regardless of whether they threw the ball or not. They knew that, they'll be able to run the ball a lot. Rhett was a tough guy. He was a great leader. One of the guys I met, toward the end of my career at Florida when Rhett used to come back through. So he was a big time back. But Fred was gifted. Fred probably the most gifted of all those three. Fred came at Florida like 215. When I first saw him, I'm like, ain't no way we could have stopped you in high school that big, man, because he was huge. My running backs in high school was 160, 170. He come in at 215. He was chiseled up, rocked up already. It can fly. He can run. He can run the 4.3 40. So he was just amazing talent, man. Amazing talent. He was always humble, always like quiet guy, just work hard. Just a good person, man.
I watch him on a pivot, and he chilled.
He always chilled. It's not fake, man. Fred always been real laid back. He talk more now than he used to talk. But Fred always been real laid back. He'll talk more in the group chat with the boys, but he real laid back. He always chill. He a good dude. Like he'll do whatever he can for you if he's friend or what have you. But he always real laid back, real chill guy.
And you're just prompting more questions, so you gotta forgive me because it's a good conversation. And I like asking football guys this question: who was the alpha in the locker room? Who was the alpha?
The first one come to mind for us probably Lawrence Wright. Lawrence Wright was the alpha. He was the guy doing the wind sprints who everybody stand up, don't be bending over. Let's do this. He breaking down all the huddles. He was the leader. He was the one got the energy going. He the one got the energy going out there on 7-on-7. He started talking. Everybody else started talking and then get it going. I think Lawrence was like the team leader over the entire team right now time.
Who just wouldn't shut up, like just stayed talking all the time?
Lawrence Wright. I always told Lawrence, I bet when you go to sleep, man, I bet you be snoring hard. You had so much. He had so much energy, man. I can't believe a guy just had that much energy, man. It'd be 100 degrees outside. He just talking and running and talking, and he just had it. He would never shut up, but that's just the way he was. L Dog just was a good leader. He wanted, guy had grew up and down in Miami, bad areas and stuff, and he wanted more for himself, and he worked at it.
So I say we, you tell my Gator. Florida has kind of been not as we are used to Florida seeing the Gators, right? They had the championship days in your day. They had the quote-unquote Tebow days, the championship days, and then it seemed like a massive drop-off to just mediocrity.
Yeah.
You looking, and maybe you have inside information, but I'm just going to say, you looking from the outside in, what does that tell you? Like, what's the state of Florida football, and why is it like that?
I think now with the social media and what have you, Florida State, and Miami just not gonna get the best players out of Florida every year, like we was doing back in those days. Back in those days, it was a matter of who was gonna get them. Whether it's gonna be Florida State, and Miami. If it's a top-notch player. Every blue moon somebody may get away because they didn't, wasn't quite big enough or quite fast enough for them teams to get. But nowadays, those guys go anywhere. They'll go out to Oregon and play ball. They'll go they'll go anywhere and play football. So right now, it just, to me, I'll tell people just enjoy it when it's your turn, because I think it all goes in cycles. I think it all goes in cycles. Every great team in college football, I can remember at least a decade when they was terrible. Like one while when Georgia was mid. I remember one while when Alabama was mid. I remember one while when Oregon wasn't really good. I remember a whole decade when Texas was bad. So just enjoy it when it's your turn. When it's your turn, take advantage of it. Win many championships you can, because eventually something gonna happen. A coach gonna leave, or you gonna miss on some recruits, or something gonna happen when they're gonna bring you back to the pack with everybody else.
The Florida State rivalry. Leading up to that, what was the mood that week, that practice week? How, what was the vibe every year?
it
What was it?
it was exciting, man. It was exciting because you playing against a lot of guys that you went to high school with. You playing against a lot of guys that's from the same area you from. You knew that game would be a game that the NFL scouts looked at to get you
Mm,
drafted. They not
okay.
looking at when you play some bad team. They watching what you do against Florida State, against top notch teams. So it was a little bit more, a little bit more focused. Probably wasn't as much out during the week as other weeks. So and he just wanted to play well. Everybody back home was gonna watch the game. Back in those days, certain games were on TV and certain games wasn't. Nowadays, all games on TV. So
Right.
you knew that game was gonna be on TV. It's gonna be in a prime time slot where everybody can watch it. So you want to do your best, man. You want to do your best. You want to make sure you was your body was right. You want to make sure you was good with the game plan. So it was just a little bit more went into it when you played those guys.
When your career started to come to an end and all right, I'm about to be an NFL selection. When does it really sink in that you got a shot to be a first, second round, third round pick? Like, when does that really sink in? Okay, dude, I might be in the NFL.
That's a good question, man. Because when I first was leaving high school, I just wanted to play college football. I wanted to play big time college football. I never thought about the NFL. No, nowadays
Okay.
all the guys want to go to pros, want to go to pros. I never even thought about that. And when I got to college, I just wanted to learn as much as I can learn and be good as I can be. I didn't think about NFL. But once Ike and Riedel left, and I knew I can do some of the things that they did the previous year, I knew it was a chance. And then I started, I think right down around that time when the internet started booming, and dang, I'm old when the internet started booming. The internet started booming. Started looking at I started looking at the internet, looking at mock drafts and stuff like that. And now my name was always in the mock drafts and stuff, but I didn't never realize, how good people thought I was. I was just trying to play as good as as well as I can play. And at that time, and then I was like, I thought you was gonna leave with us because I didn't know you had to be 3 years out of high school because I had
Mm-hmm.
redshirted, and so I really could have left the year prior, but I ended up leaving after my junior year, and I just wanted to play as well as I can play. I never was arrogant with it. I never thought I was better than somebody else. I never thought any of that kind of stuff. I just wanted to compete, play well, and do well for my teammates. That's all I always want to do when I play football.
So, good segue into what you're doing now, as you are the head coach of one of the dynasty schools, at least in the state of Florida, but regarded in the nation also at Manatee High School. Very community based. It's hard to speak about Florida football without talking about the Manatee Hurricanes. Okay. The question I want to ask is, how do you keep consistency within your program with how rampant transferring is?
We went 2-7 my first year. We lost a lot of guys the year before. I took over at the end of spring, so I was like behind the eight ball. We also had to add a bunch of big dogs on the schedule because it was late. We was late making the schedule, what have you. We went 2-7 that first year, and none of my guys transferred. And so at that time, I knew, like we had some guys that was really, Manatee guys. So, um, I just wanted to make my guys have the best high school experience they can have. Manatee is a community based school, which reminds me of some of the schools back home in Georgia where it is tied to the community. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
you're in Miami when you got three schools on the same road and kids coming and going. And I try to let my kids enjoy their high school experience, man. I want them to have fun. We're gonna work them hard, but at the same time, I want them to have fun. I want them to enjoy their 4 years of high school, and when they graduate, I want them to be like, man, I had so much fun when I played for Manatee in high school. So that's my main thing. And as far as like, giving back, I had a great life, great career. I want to give back to the kids. I want those kids to be able to witness some of the things I had a chance to witness. I want them to be able to get scholarships and be able to leave Bradenton and go other places and see other people and do other things in life, man. That's the main thing with me. I want to win a state championship, but if I don't, I really want to, create young men that are successful in life and that can, give back to the community once they get older and what have you. I don't understand why these guys, try to make want to. I don't know. They get all these transfers and they win all these games, and they still not happy with themselves or their life or something like that. I don't understand that. I just want to make sure these kids have a great high school career and they enjoy themselves and they productive citizens at the end of the day. That's all I want to do.
Do you feel any pressures from the community to win?
Can't nobody put more pressure on me than I put on myself. I'm a guy that I'm a grinder. I want to win. I wanna beat good teams. I want to produce athletes. I want to sign guys to college. Shoot, it's dang almost March. I'm still trying to get guys into college. So, I don't feel any pressure, man. And every job I've taken has been at a great high school that has won a lot. So it's no more pressure than when I coached at Gabby, who had won a lot of championships. When I coached at Lincoln, who had won a lot of championships. When I coached at Valdosta, who won like 30 state championships. So it's not any different than all the other places I coached at.
And then at the same time, so wanting to build these young men up, and I'm just looking at notes over here. How many guys currently do you have signed college scholarships in this 25 class?
I think we at 10, and we should get another 3 or 4, 4 or 5 probably. I think we at 10 right now. I think we had 4 the first signing day. I think we signed another 6 or 7 the past signing day, and we'll get at least another 4 or 5. We'll have another signing day, get at least another 4 or 5.
How do you deal with parents who? Yeah, let's. How do you? Maybe kind of loaded. You can tiptoe around this if you like to.
I let the parents know from the start. I don't give out scholarships. I don't give out scholarships. Okay. I try to put your kid in the best position possible to make plays and what have you for the college coaches. But at the end of the day, they're gonna want people who are certain size, who got certain arm lengths, and what have you. You can run for 300. You can run for 3,000 yards, and if you 5'5", you're not going to college. Probably, you're probably gonna sign to a smaller school, but you're not going to Florida if you're 5'5". You can run for 8,000 yards in the season. They don't care. So I had to let them know like it's all about your size. And then the next thing is size gonna be the first thing to make them look at you. After that, they're gonna want your grades. You gotta have certain grades to get in. And then if you don't have the grades, they can't do anything with you. So I let the parents know from the start. You got to have a certain look, you got to have a certain size, and you got to make certain kind of grades. Because some parents just don't encourage academics like some of the older parents did back in the day.
I'm a fan of the Manatee community. I'm a fan of kind of like the, I guess the more, it's not rural, but non-city, the suburban, not non-metro areas. It just feels like the city the area kind of gets behind their teams. Manatee gets behind Manatee. Lakeland gets behind Lakeland. Venice gets behind Venice. You know what I mean? It all kind of feels like that. But at the same time, you being the head coach, you got to engage with the community, right? Yeah. You're a prominent figure in that area. How do you engage with the community on whatever facets that you do? What is your tactic and strategies? How do you do it?
I try to do as much as I can. When people ask me to do things in the community, I rarely say no. I do the golf tournament. I do the Hall of Honors thing they have every year. I try to get the kids out and volunteer and help out whenever else about kids help out in the community. Even during the hurricane, I counseled a couple of practice so the kids can go help get the island back together and stuff like that. And most coaches are not going to do that. They're like, no, we need to practice. I'm like, no, that don't make sense. We need to do something that's way more important. I try to take the kids to read at the different elementary schools during reading month. I think this month reading month, next month reading month. I do stuff like that. One young lady had some cancer stuff going on, and when they wanted to do a car wash, and I got the kids to volunteer to work the car wash. So I do as much as I can within the community. Whenever they ask me to do anything, I never say no. I try to do as much as I can to help out in the community. Because that's the cool thing about Manatee. Our high school sits right, between houses. The kids still ride bikes to school at Manatee. You don't see that most places anymore. Some places don't even see kids ride bikes anymore. But kids still ride bikes to Manatee to go to high school. Kids still, when the bell rang, they walking home because the house is right around the street. And The last few years we're trying to create that old school Manatee feel at the games. Because since COVID, a lot of people don't attend games anymore. But the last few years we've got that back going again with the light shows at the game, and the student section's been doing a great job, and we've been getting a lot of people out at the football games. And I think the last game we played against St. Thomas was amazing. It was packed on both sides, and it felt nostalgic. It felt like back in the '90s when everybody in the whole community was at the game on Friday night. So, and that's what I want to get it back to. I know it's gonna be hard now. Back in those days, it wasn't in the Braden River, it wasn't in Lakewood Ranch, it wasn't in the parish, and there wasn't a lot of schools around that time. But no, I'm gonna try to get it as much as I can.
Now Manatee has maybe I've been in the Manatee equipment room, so Manatee might have the most uniform combinations in the state. All right, so we talking resources, right? We talking resources. Which is your favorite combination? Let's just have some fun with it. What Manatee uniform combination is your favorite?
I'm an all white guy. All white. I've been that way since I played for the when I played with the Bucks, so we used to wear all white. That was always my favorite uniform. I like the all white and I also like the red retro looking jerseys we got with the red in the middle and the blue stripes on the sleeves.
Yep.
This past year we got some blue jerseys in because I was sitting around one day. I'm like, we red, white, and blue, but we got like 3 different red jerseys. We got like 3 different white jerseys. We don't have no blue jerseys. And so I finally ordered a blue pair of jerseys, and it looked good, and the kids loved them. So we got a lot of combinations. We'll leave it up to the seniors. They map out the combinations before the season starts, so we'll know what combination we wearing each game. I don't get into all that kind of stuff, so I let them handle that part, and whatever they decide to wear, that's what we wear.
That's good, man. That's good, man. Take me back to last year's team, and I want you to just speak of some guys that you think are going to have a huge impact this year. Guys that were on the team last year that are going to that you expect to have a big impact this upcoming season.
This year we'll still have good size. We'll still have guys that can fly. We'll still have a lot of guys that can play. Got a lot of linemen back. I started 3 10th graders on the line last year. All those guys over 300 pounds. Paley Asimasilla, Kenny Perverja, Eddie Clark, Big Dooley, Derek Morgan was a junior on the line. So we got like 4 out of 5 coming back on the offensive line. I think that's going to be the strength of our team this year. Those guys are tough kids. They're going to be experienced. I got 2 running backs back. Keyshawn Smith graduated. His younger brother, Keith Smith, going to be a special player too. He was number 21 last year. He's a good player. We had a kid, Caden Smith, was a freshman last year that played varsity with us, number 3. He's a bigger back. He's going to be a great player. I got some receivers. Jock Harris, probably the best athlete in our team. We waiting to get him going. I think he has the ability to be one of the best players in the entire Tampa Bay area. He's 6'2", about 180. He started the year out playing safety. He can play wide. He's really a receiver, but he's such a great athlete. I wanted him to play safety until his time to play receiver came along. We got a couple of different quarterbacks vying for the quarterback spot. Ronan Dangler's back at linebacker. He was a team MVP last year on defense. He'll be back at linebacker. So we got a lot of guys that just waiting for their chance to play. I'd be sometimes. You just got guys who wait for their chance to play. We got a coachable group, a group that's been tearing it up in the weight room so far this off season. So we just excited about this year. We got a good schedule for this season, and I'm just excited for see what we do this year. And my thing that I got for Coach Spurrier was always past success does not guarantee future success. So you guys got to work just as hard as last year's team. You can't just line up and think you're going to win because last year's team won. It doesn't work like that.
You had a really good season your first year head coach. You had a fantastic season last year, second year in the position in the saddle. Do you get the feeling from your team that they are the big dog once again? Like the confidence kind of oozes off of them like it used to be. And just so, because they were in my day,
yeah.
Like you played at Manatee or you knew you had to play Manatee, you knew the type of attitude that they were coming with.
Manatee knew there.
Okay.
We still get out the bench out for most teams. regardless of our record. You know, teams gonna give us their best shot. It's still hard to schedule people. Nobody wants to play you. So we get most teams best shot, man. But that's good. That's why I'm at Manatee. You know, that's why I tell the kids. That's why you at Manatee, to play in these type of games, to play in big games, to play against great competition. No, we're not gonna schedule a bunch of cream puff for you year in and year out just to get wins. I don't care, fire me or whatever. No, but I'm gonna play good. We're gonna play good competition, and I'm gonna have your high school experience be fun. You know, you get to play good teams week in and week out in Manatee High School.
Well, this has been a pleasure, Coach. This is, like I said, this is a treat for me being a Gator, and obviously a respecter of Manatee High School, and their football program. So I appreciate your time. We're gonna have you back on.
Yeah, you can have him back on, man. Appreciate you for having me on, though, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Go Canes.
Go Canes, go.